Hello again, it's John and Claire from JH Coaching.
Hello.
And we've spent the last couple of days, and actually the last half an hour, discussing our running, not our running, but running and cycling and racing and taking part in events, and the fact that the events and the journey to the events or the training is part of life, one of life's adventures, part of life's adventure. And each little training session or each big event or each travelling to an event or series of events is an adventure. And what we were discussing is it better to have an adventure of any of these adventures or activities on your own or with a group? And I think what we concluded is it depends. So one of the things you're very keen on is personality and mood, and how sport can help you improve your mood and your life. But we also talked about how being on your own or being in a group is better or worse depending on your mood and your personality.
Yeah, I think certainly there's quite a lot of information around these days about whether or not you're an introvert or an extrovert, and it is certainly true from my own experience that some people seem to really feel energised and really relaxed by being around other people. That's what helps them relax and sort of reset for the week, if you will. And for other people, it's exactly the opposite. They feel much more stressed by people and by socialising, and they will reset far more easily and readily by spending some time alone in their own space, in their own head. My experience is that it can be a little bit mood dependent as well. So I've had times in my life where I've woken up early one morning, got into the car and just gone off without really telling anybody, done a race and come back and done pretty much the whole thing by myself. And I've quite enjoyed that. I've just wanted that space and that time in the car and the race and whatnot. But at other times it's been really important for me to share that adventure with somebody else. And that's what's energised me and motivated me to do it.
I think I'm definitely an introvert. I don't think there's any question about that. If you're back in Britain working on stuff, then I don't speak to anybody apart from the red man who comes every day, apart from and the dog. But I like to do my training, and particularly my harder training on my own. But events I prefer to do with other people. I don't tend to. If I was doing a race, I wouldn't ride round with somebody else because a race is a race to me. But that's because that's what I want to get out of the race or the event. But that's not to say that riding with or running with other people is wrong. So I'm the opposite. I like to be on my own and spend a lot of time on my own and spend a lot of time out riding my bike on my own. But in terms of going to events and taking part in events, I quite like the camaraderie in the group environment, or at least access to a group.
Yeah. I think certainly one of the things that I've chatted about with a fair few people is that they actually feel safer with somebody else if they're doing a particularly long training run or something like that. They feel more confident if they've got other people around them, maybe because those other people might have more skills or experience.
Particularly if you're out in the mountains, and at this time of year, it's winter here, and there's certainly a lot of snow and there have been a few avalanches, so having a group with you is safer. If you've got the right experience and skills, then going on your own is okay, but also you have to be careful.
The other thing that I quite like about being in a group environment, whether that's when you're actually out in the mountains or even just being part of a group with a shared common interest, is that a supportive group can really help you push your own boundaries quite a lot, even if it's just the case of somebody saying, well, why not do that? And you think, oh yeah, why not? Why shouldn't I give that a go? That's quite a good idea. Or being inspired by other people. Or even just when you're out and about, I think sometimes with other people they can really sort of help you push yourself a bit more.
That certainly works for me, but it tends to work in a slightly different way, that if it's more outside the activity that somebody might say, why don't you do that? So if I'm in a group I tend to get a little bit stressed and I feel like I'm going to hold people up, and I'm less likely to risk things. I guess I might feel like I'm going to be laughed at if I don't get it right. Whereas if somebody, I can think of an example actually. When I was starting to get reasonably fit in mountain running, mountain running in Scotland, I was working at a place called Heriot-Watt University, which is about 7 miles away from where I lived in central Edinburgh. And I was travelling back from a race with somebody, and he said I would have thought that'd be perfect distance to run to and from work. And I also knew that combining my training with commuting worked well. So I thought, oh well, it's a lot, 14, 15 miles a day is a lot, and it is a lot. But I thought, well, I'll give it a go, and I did, and I managed to. I was running then once I'd started doing that, I was running about 4,000 miles a year, so that's 6,000 kilometres a year, and I got really fit. It worked. So somebody in the environment, in the sporting environment, suggested and gave me confidence to do something that made a huge difference to my fitness level.
I think as well the key there is about supportive group, isn't it? It's if you with the right kind of people who are going to support you in the right kind of way, which is kind of individual, but that's going to really help you. You're going to thrive in that environment. So there's the key there, I guess, is finding the right group for you.
Yeah. Find a group that works for you, and there's no right or wrong, as we've just proved. I think we're very close, have similar interests, but obviously
I think we
train differently and take different things from our groups and our time on our own.
Mm-hmm, definitely. We've talked a little bit about racing, and we've mentioned racing, which it's kind of different, really, racing, I think, to go and not just going out, that's the wrong way to put it, but to going out and training. There's something that feels very different about
racing
it.
or events, perhaps, yeah.
Like a
something,
planned
a
event.
gold event, a goal of some sort, yeah.
Yeah, they definitely feel very different.
Yeah, for me, whereas I can get a bit stressed and not perform or not push myself in group training sessions or group activities, in a racing or an event environment, it's the opposite. I push myself hard, I race against other people, I don't feel that I'm holding them back or getting in the way, because that's the point of it.
I think that is really different. I've certainly know people who won't race because they just find it too stressful, or people who can put themselves on an awful lot of pressure to perform in a certain way, to do a certain time or to get a certain placing, which can kind of take the fun out of it a bit. Whereas I think one of the things that I really like about races, and the ones that I've really enjoyed the most, I've kind of been at the line thinking, I wonder what's going to happen. I've done all this training for this event and I'm really excited to see what happens. I don't know what the outcome's going to be, but I'm just interested.
And that's the most healthy approach to have. And if you look at, I spend a lot of time watching elite sport, and I've certainly been lucky enough to be involved in elite sport as a coach. And what you will find is that the best people, the people who are likely to win, are saying, I've trained really, I've done the best training I can do, I'm now on the start line and I'm really looking forward to seeing how well I can do. And they're looking at it with a spirit of inquiry. So that what you're saying, that is the way to approach an event. You've no idea, you can't control what other people will do. You may feel good, you may feel bad on the day, and you've done the best you can. You can't change anything when you're on the start line, so enjoy it. For me, races and events are all about the doing the best I can, but also travelling to new places, meeting new people, spending time with my friends. And it's the adventure of racing that really makes it for me, and I think most of the people I know, even professional athletes that I've worked with.
Yeah, it's the package, isn't it? The journey there, the excitement of getting there, maybe planning, whether you're going to stay overnight and where you're going to stay and who you're going to stay with and how that's going to, is it going to be a holiday or a weekend? All those things are all parts of it, aren't they?
Yeah.
And that's what makes it fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, that was changing the tack completely, but we both believe that being in outdoor spaces and being fit enough to be in an outdoor space or to take part in an event or even to just be able to go out for a run or a bike ride is an amazing feeling, and spending the time learning how best to do that and developing that fitness is very worthwhile. Well, our business is about supporting people to do that now.
Absolutely, yeah. We want to be able to facilitate people to get out there and enjoy all this beautiful nature that's around there in whatever way works for them.
Yeah. So have a think about the things we've said and think about what works best for you so that you can get the best out of yourself and enjoy your adventures as best you can. And over the last few years actually, I've been working with the Adventure Syndicate, a group that encourage people to go out and have their adventures, mostly cycling with them. And we've now got this package that we believe now supports that. There's a running package and a cycling package. So if you want to check that out and see how we can support you through that, and if it works for you, then great. I'll put a link in the description below.
Yeah, good luck. And if you have any adventures that you want to share, wang us a comment down below. We'd love to hear about adventures you've had or you're planning.